Hello, I'm live here for an hour. I'm going to be doing some readings for anyone that would wish. I try and do this every couple of weeks here on Facebook. I'm also on YouTube as well. Give me a second here to figure that out. I hope you're all doing well. These are pretty wild times we're living in right now. I think that's just going to be the way for another little while. But you know, when one does what one can, and I've gotten on here before and said this before. I think our best placement is to look after ourselves, to be steady, to be, I'm forgetting the word now. There's a word for it. I'm forgetting the word, but it's to support ourselves to be less reactive. You know, the less reactive we are, the more responsive we are, the better we show up. Okay, and so that's where I'm leading into this. Is it's completely relative from one person to the other how we get activated, whether we get stressed or happy and so on. It's completely unique and relative. And so, if I get on here this week and I'm giving readings for you guys, then it's to help you move those stuck or fixated or repetitive or cyclical thoughts that you've got, the worries you've got, the concerns you've got, that might be taking a disproportionately large amount of room in your mind. When I got into this metaphysics and new agey stuff and so on, it wasn't for a long time. It wasn't for a very long time until I started going for longer readings. And up until then, it was just the odd question that I might like to know something about, and on I would go. It's only really in my later years. Got an airport, a military airport near here. I can hear that very, very loud. Anyway, it's only in my later years that I started going for longer readings and so on, like I now give, right? And so I think, I don't get to see some of you very often. I don't get to be in touch very often. So I'd like to get on here. You know the drill. Put your questions in the comments that you want me to read for, and I'll just go through one by one. Okay, to the best I can, and I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here for an hour. So just checking YouTube there. See someone on YouTube. I'll get to you in a minute. I'll get to your guys' questions in a minute as well. I did want to say something. The opportunity I have just to share ideas that come to me. Where do I start with this one? So people talk about timelines and timelines shifting, and I don't know that I completely agree with that. I see why people say it, and I think the ground level experience would speak to that. But what I actually see happening, if you can imagine the collective spirit or soul of humanity, it's like an enormous brain connected to everyone, to each other, and so on. And so on this higher level, we have opportunity for growth. And of course, on that level, we say, yeah, let's go, let's do this. Why not? Of course. Then it happens. And then on the human level, we experience that in the daily, in the flesh. And we go, whoa, rather like at the moment. And after that acceleration, there's a contraction, which would seem like there had been a timeline shift because it had been fast, now it's slow. But what comes after that is, of course, the integration, which is how we evolve in this world anyway. That's how we learn anything. That's how neurons grow and so on. It's integration. And so on the ground level, it might seem cute to say there are timeline jumps and shifts and so on. But really, truly, I think it's just the normal way that the spirit in the human body and the collective one metabolizes the choices we've made for our planet and for ourselves, right? So, I think I'm going to just start with, is it Viviananda? I got you on YouTube, and I think I'll go to your question first because you might not have long to stick around. So you said, the question is, will you be able to move back to Brazil before June? And if yes, when? All right. So just to say to you all, I have already I have already, said a prayer and cleared the space and so on. I wouldn't just jump into doing readings, right? But let me read for Vivekananda here, and then I'll get to you guys here on YouTube, right? Okay, so Vivekananda, my answer to your question is yes, you will before June, and I would say to you sooner than later. It looks like March is the real sweet spot. April works as well. I would not suggest any later than that. My God, I was about to say, God knows what will happen in the world, but geez, just look at the last 2 weeks. Anything can happen. So I would say to you, the answer is yes, and sooner than later. March seems to be a sweet spot for you. Okay. Right. So you guys on YouTube? Oh, Jill, I just saw you there. Did you put a question in? Jill. All right, you didn't. Okay. All right. So hello, everyone on Facebook. Michelle, lovely to see you here. Love insight on the new friend connections here. Right. I'm reading this how you're phrasing it. So I don't know what you've been doing, but I assume you've just moved and you're talking about the people you're going to meet in the area you live in. I need to just say that aloud so you know what I'm looking at. And if that's not the question, then all right. That's so Michelle tweet. Well, she said, Michelle, it looks wonderful. So I don't know if where you are, where you've moved to, or anything like that. But I'm not going to show cards for every single reading, but I really felt I wanted to here. Three of Wands here, WANDS, the Three of Wands. Signifies the concept is the ships coming in, and so ships don't come in unless you put something out. And so if there are friend connections and so on, well, that's you could say that's a layer of soul family finally coming to you, which means you've done the work to receive and be open to it. But that's not even the one I wanted to show you. Is the card of the Sun. The door wide open, you meeting people in the right and appropriate way, the right and appropriate people meeting you in the right and appropriate way. So I've got this resounding yes and yes, and all looks wonderful for you there. I gave a reading to someone the other day, and just like the first three questions, my answers were not what she wanted to hear. So I'm always happy when it's a positive answer, even though that's not always the way. Okay, let's go on here. Shakti Sirius. Good to see you on here as well. What is coming on your career path? Right. So we got an interesting one here. What is coming on your career path, you ask? And my answer is that really depends on you, because as I'm looking at a couple of the cards here, and just said I wasn't going to show them, but I think I will. We have a couple of flanking cards here. The one that came up first was the Ace of Wands. I'll say that I'll talk about that in a minute. The other one was the Two of Swords here. And as I'm looking at this one, this is the one that caught my eye, Shakti. And as I'm looking at the card and I'm seeing because it's indicative of a child picking up things in the wild and learning about them, learning to use them. The page is about an early interest that will take some time to develop. If you do that and accept there's a longer trajectory, there's lovely things ahead, right? But to do that, you have to acknowledge the value of what you do, what you have, and what you are. And sometimes it takes a while. Don't be like me. Don't be like me that wants to take shortcuts all over the place, which ends up taking longer because you have to clean up after yourself. And if you'd just gone slow and steady like the tortoise to begin with, you'd have got there by now, is what I say to myself. So this is, you ask what's coming, and it's like you're not a puppet in the world, right? And so see yourself as the place of power. This is what I'm going to choose what happens. But with that, there's a longer trajectory, and it's about step by step. So if you want things to happen now, that's not what I'm seeing here. The real payoff in terms of doing what you love to do. Planes going overhead. In terms of doing what you love to do, yeah, and seeing people enjoying that and being grateful for it, that's in the trajectory, but it's a little further ahead. And so it's for you to acknowledge what you have and what you do, but also not to get resentful when it doesn't happen immediately. And that last part is a big one. So if you can kind of, take the breaths and say, all right, I'm aiming for the horizon here. Because what is a career other than what is it? Did Rumi say it? Oh my God, who wrote The Secret? I am blanking. Who wrote The Secret? This is so embarrassing. I should look it up. Anyway, so there's an expression, work is love made visible, right? In terms of you bring forth what you know, what you can do, propelled by love, and it's visible so that someone can see it, that someone can have access to it. It's tangible and it can be relevant to them. Work is love made visible. All that you have done up until the moment brought into a form that someone can do something with and take on and enjoy, right? It's a different way of looking at work that might help you to. It's a different way of looking at work that might help you to see what you do and reframe it in a happier way. Okay. There's no one else on YouTube. Let's go on. I did talk a bit too much there. Jody, I ended a. Where are you? I lost it. I ended a 12-year relationship a year ago. He still continues to text and see how I'm doing. I responded recently with not wanting to communicate anymore. Will this now end his reaching out? Khalil Gibran, thank you. Oh, God. Anyway, Jody. Right. So Jody, I see it stopping for a while. Okay. What I'm thinking is going to happen is he's going to stop communicating, and then in a few, like 5-6 months, you'll hear from him again. Okay. I don't know why people try and test like that. My I don't speak about this too often. Maybe I should. I might suggest a very simple cord cutting. I need to explain what I mean here. With cord cutting, you're not going to be removed of soul lessons that you have. Okay, you're going to be removed from distraction and have been placed in a better position to choose from a higher version of yourself. Okay, so remembering that if someone's behaving in a certain way to me, I've got my corresponding factor that's calling that to me too. Okay, so I want to cleanse that part of myself too, so it doesn't show up in a mirror. All right. So the short answer is I see it stopping, and then in this moment, in this trajectory, which you can change, of course, I could see you hearing from him again, later months and so on. Okay. Oh, Shakti, you're asking about the gong. So, actually, God, it's almost 10 years ago. I was chatting with someone. I worked in her center for a while, and just talking about gongs and so on. Of course, I was doing sound, and she said, "Oh, Josh, you should get a gong." So there was when we lived in Kansas City, and there was a percussion store a few roads down, and I went there, and they had about 3 or 4 gongs, because you want to test it. You want to have a go on it. And I knew I'd be using this a lot. I've used this like thousands of times, and so when I went to play this one, I found that it almost had like 2 tones on it, and I could get a lot of different sound out of it. And it's heavy. It's a lot to take around, but it's not too heavy, right? So you're going to get a gong. You want to test it out first. Okay, Amy Coney. I was thinking of you. Gosh, thinking of you just the other day. Will your stomach issues resolve soon? Yeah, I'm not seeing stomach issues resolving soon, Amy. Obviously, we can't talk right now. I'm just wondering. My hesitation is you probably thought of everything that I would think of right now. So, of course, I'm obviously I'm here if you want to chat, but for right now, I should probably move on. What does someone do with that information? So I don't think it's just going to resolve itself on its own. Okay, so if someone said that to me, if I asked my stomach issues resolve soon and I was told no, I would start looking for different avenues to abate and resolve it. Okay. Barbara, you have a new manager at work. Will this new manager treat you well and fairly amongst my colleagues? So it is a financially abundant season for you. Okay. Oh, I've got a big old yes. I've got a big old yes. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I shouldn't be attached, but I am. Um, yes, I do see that she'll treat you well. I see quick advancing. I do see money. Yes. Bit. So yes. Happy to see that kind of thing. All right, Sean. There you are. Good to see you on here as well, Sean. Thank you. I haven't seen you on for a while. If you don't mind, I'm in the process of radically expanding my business and professional footprint, and I'm wondering if the spirit realm thinks it's a good idea, and is it something I should consider moving forward with this year? And if so, is there a time frame? So, expansion. Okay, this is a good idea. And move forward this year. Is it going to be okay? Got it. Okay, so Sean, what I'm getting here, and do what you will with this information, I'm getting it. I would do it next year. I would do it next year. I get a considerably better reading for you next year. Okay. Now here we are. We're still in January. Still barely after mid-January. It doesn't look bad this year for you, but would you do something with doesn't look bad? I way prefer. I see. You know what I'm getting for next year for you. Not only is there kind of new growth, new opportunity for growth, but then there's branching off that as well. That's what I'm looking at for next year. Yeah. But of course, follow your flow. Of course, follow your flow. Okay. Lisa, what do I see for future love reading? Please, I'm single. Okay. Oh, it certainly looks good. I'm very optimistic for the first half of this year for you. Okay. I just want to get a bit more about this. I mean, it's very, very there for you. Yeah. So I'm getting two big windows, as it were, one for March for you and one for April. I like both of those. I really like both of those. I slightly prefer the April one for what I'm seeing. And how could this turn out? You could meet someone and then connect with them again in a couple of weeks later. That could happen, right? Yeah, I absolutely get a yes for love, relationship, connection, romance for you for this year. and sooner than later, windows of March and April, May, March and April, May. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, here we go. Adrian. And Chantel, you are next. Adrian, I'm wondering how the next phase of my spiritual business is going to unfold in the next few months. Okay. Okay, Adrian, what I'd like you to I don't know, understand perhaps is that there is absolutely a flow to it. It doesn't seem to be your flow, and while I say it's moving, it's absolutely in movement. It's a reminder to you, as I had actually a reminder earlier today, that I get to do something like this because there is the corresponding support with it. There's that co-participation, right? And it's just forgive me if you didn't need the reminder, but I'm passing on the reminder that you are in equal partnership. And so what the recommendation to you is to enjoy the work, right? I understand, we run a spiritual business, money is a corresponding part of it. It just is, right? It just is. Also, we can't, the more we're in touch with why we do this, the better it goes. Okay. Because we'll do it from a more connected place. So I'm getting things picking up for you more closer to early summer, right? More closer to early summer. But if you can lean into the enjoyment, the joy of it, that's really going to come out into what you do, and then that comes back to you. There is a flow. You are being supported. They are working with you. Absolutely. 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 Chantel. Oh, gosh. Questions here. Someone's just asked me, D, I do healing sessions. Yes, I do. Just direct message me, and we can set that up if you wish, and some other things. Sorry, just lost Chantel. Do I see your left arm and hand regaining normal function soon? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do I need to look at when? I don't know that. I don't know that I do. Chantel, my answer is a clear yes. It's a clear yes. It's a clear yes. I hope, of course, you're doing your part. You're using that part of you, and I assume you are. But I'm getting a resounding, definite yes for arm and hand. Where are we? Chantel, Michelle, T, Catherine. We're saying will Richard pass the maths exam? Yes, I'm getting a yes, and it's a just about yes. All right. Can you just he'll get through it. I do think he'll pass. You just I don't know if he's taking it today. This of course changes what you would do with this information. But assuming he's not taking it today and not taking it right now, he's taking it tomorrow or something. Just have him focus a bit more. There's a bit of distraction creeping in, whether it's doubt or I don't, wherever it's coming from. Just have him focus a bit more. But I do see him getting through. I do see him passing. Yes. Just is it Jocelyn? Jocelyn. Do I see your husband gets a project for work this, please? Jocelyn Stevens, I'm reading from. Just need to check something. Christy, if you're still on here, I'm getting to you soon. But do you actually have a question, or do you just want me to generally read for you? My question. That's Christy. So anyway, Jocelyn, do I see that your husband gets a project for work this year? I do see that. I do. There's no hesitation or whatever. I absolutely do see that. And I would say, I'm going to say soon. Yes, I'm going to say soon. Yes, and soon. Jocelyn. Emily. Mentioned to your VP in Foundations about possibly some professional development for or exposure into what her officers do and their work. Will she think about my development and what I can be exposed to? Will she think about my development and what I can be exposed to? All right, and another yes. Oh, I'm enjoying today. So will she think about development? So yes, I'm very optimistic about this. What happens next? Of course, I'm not looking at that yet, but you're certainly into something there with her, or her, or the department, or both, right? It's good. Kelly, how's my heart health, please? Okay, I do see a little bit of interruption there. I think that's why you asked, but it's not that It's not concerning, as I'm seeing here. I am obviously not a doctor, not giving medical advice. You know that. You know that. You know that. Not doing that. So, in terms of what I'm seeing here, yes, I do see a little bit of a complaint, but not a concern. All right, not a concern. What you are feeling, as well as the physicality of it, is a bit more about emotions than the physical organ itself. All right. So I am more optimistic than not for you there, Kelly. Okay. Rachel Ann. I'm just gonna scroll ahead, see if. Okay. Christy, I did see your question. I'm just going to go in order here. Okay. Rachel, there you are. My husband has been struggling with his epilepsy. I'm sorry to hear that. And his seizures have gotten more frequent. They cannot determine a cause or control it other than genetic. Will he be able to live without seizures and work normally again? Any insight you can give? Yeah, it's not what I want to say or tell you, but yes, it looks like he's got this for So, all right, let's see how let's see if we can be a bit more constructive about this. Right. All right. This is a bit more constructive. For him to work in the ways that he has worked in the past, I don't see that flow for him. That doesn't mean he can't work, right? So now we're talking about adaptability, right? If my life gets interrupted in a certain way and I want to keep living the same way, well, I'll have a challenge, won't I? So I need to find another way, another route, and that's how God works, right? There's another door that's going to open. So is he going to be able to work? Yes, and that door is going to open, but not working in the way he has used to. There is a silver lining here, Rachel. I acknowledge a cloud, but the silver lining as well. The nature and the way of the world and should we call it industrialization, if we still can, changing so much that the ways we've been used to working, the 9 to 5 or whatever, go to that place, do something, come home. It's changing, isn't it? It's changing. So I do feel that he can find a way, if not ways, to be gainful, compensatory, and support and not have concern about his seizures, right? I hope I'm making sense there, Rachel. It's a challenging thing to talk about. Melissa, do I see you being able to get a place? You're getting a place of your own in the near future? Listen, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it next year. I don't know what you mean by near future. That's I have to ask that sometimes. But you start working towards it this year. I do see it next year. It's not. It's not. And the reason for that may not be you at all, but that's what I'm getting next year. So if near future was next year, yes. If near future is next month, I'm not seeing that. But I do think you are tuned into something. You do, and I do think you will have your own place before long. I do. Angie. Gonna shuffle again. My husband is going to be having cardiac surgery soon. Okay, I'm not getting warm and fuzzies from the doctor. What do I need to know for the better good of my husband's health? Yeah. I have enormous respect for the medical community and professionals. I've also been on the other end of the not warm and fuzzy before, and it's you know. Okay. Again, of course, as I said earlier, this session, I'm not a doctor, not giving medical advice or anything. In terms of what I'm seeing here, I am happy / confident about what I'm seeing here. Okay. For him, I feel it will go well. I feel it will go well, and I feel it will go well. All right. So for you, though, Angie, do what you can do to support yourself. I guess the doctors are there to be doctors, not comforting. So, but I am optimistic for him. Susan. What's the best way to help Cameron, your grandson? Oh, sure. Yeah, a little shutdown, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So, Susan, what I'm getting about Cameron is he's good with his hands, or likes to do something, with his hands, and put things together. I looking at this, I go that way with him because he doesn't, he's a grandson. He's not gonna come have a conversation with you like I'd have a conversation with you, and so get him to do things with his hands, STEM kits, Lego. I don't know what age he is, but it's to remember that when you're doing something with your hands, kind of like I am doing something with my hands here, it's grounding. It helps bring his spirit into the body, helps him open up. It opens up these pathways because he's a little bit shut down. I see he's a little uncomfortable in his body as well, and gives him something to focus on and something to be good at. That's what I'd suggest. Because with kids, you want to talk to them. You want them to tell you what's going on, but they're kids. They won't do that. They don't have the emotional library for it yet because they're kids, and that's difficult for them. It's difficult for us. So think about occupying him doing mechanical things. Annika. I'm going to answer your question, Annika, and then see there's a question here on YouTube. You're asking who your guide and who you are channeling. I'll get to you next, okay? And then I'll get to you, Christy. So, Annika, you've asked, you're going through a big change in your relationship and living situation. You need to make a decision about it. Is it best for you to stay in your current home or start anew? I'm getting, Annika, it's best for you to start anew, as you say. Don't get a good read for you to stay in your current home, right? And I'm sorry for what you're going through. I'm going to YouTube now and see who is your guide and who are you channeling. Okay. Right. Forgive me if you know this information. I have to acknowledge that you might and you might not. Because what I'm being led to tell you is it's not just one guide. You're being reminded about your team of guides, and we have several guides. We have, well, I think I knew we had. I think I was aware of that. We have 7 guides. I think I knew that. 7 guides, one of which is there to test you. Okay, that's about your guides, right? That's about your guides, and so I think the guidance for you there is reflect on there being more than one being that's in your team, right? Without going any further than that. And channeling, I'm getting the angel Gabriel for you. Angel Gabriel and Hope. Okay, so again, it's not just a one. It's not just, there isn't like a line and a door opens and it's one. No, it's there's a little blending of the masculine and the feminine there. Gabriel and Hope channeling through you. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Christy, what can you do to support your son? Lost the question now. Damn it. Anyway. Yes, there you are. What can you do to help your son? He's kind of going through it too, huh? All right, Christy, looking at what's going on here in terms of how I'm seeing it, actually I would suggest a therapist for him, and not to get into this whole needs therapy thing, because that's a thing, isn't it? But it's why it's not anything wrong with him. It's about him feeling comfortable to talk and start articulating and start getting that out and start communicating, putting into words, to be heard, right? To be heard in the frame of there's nothing wrong, but hey, what's going on, right? That's how he needs to be heard. And then he'll start unloading. Then he'll start looking, then he'll start seeing the opportunities, then happy after that, right? So it's not a click fingers, wave a magic wand, it's a sequence. But I took one of our kids for therapy last year, and you just get started. You just get started, and let the conversations happen. Remembering that we are there to give them roots and wings, and we live in community for a reason. You're on YouTube there. I don't know your name. I can only see Soul Puppy. A great name. Gabriel Hope, Hope, like our word to hope, be hopeful, is the divine feminine counterpart of Gabriel. And I'm sure someone will say, no, Gabriel's the divine feminine counterpart. There are other things to split hairs about. Lisa. Lisa, will you make a shift in your business in 2026? I've been contemplating some changes to an online space, residual income, okay, and retreats, phasing out one of your other businesses that serve me well, but need to be present to create abundance. Sure. Okay, so let me read that again. Will make a shift in 2026. Will you make a shift in 2026? Yes. So Lisa, I'm getting a yes on that, like very clear yes on that. I sort of said this to someone else earlier in this session, that it's a reminder that these things, if these things just happen, it's because of what you've put in and the response from the universe, as it were. But we throw the pebble in the pond, right? We get the wave started, right? So it's very much about what you put out, you get back. Magnified, yes, magnified, but what you put out, you get back. That is, to some people just think these things just happen, and yeah, we magnetize to us. Yes, we do, but not in a sense of just sitting and waiting, right? That's not a doing something, right? So yes, Lisa, but to take your step two, and the corresponding step that Spirit takes is much bigger, right? Much bigger. Alicia, I'd like to know if you should write a children's book. Oh, beautiful. Oh, a big yes for that. Oh, yes. Yes, and yes. I've enjoyed today. I've enjoyed today. There's been some real uplifting spreads for people, and you know, I'm never going to be the aloof person. I'm never going to be the totally detached person. That, you know, I want to see good and expansion for people. You know, so and Susan, what Susan says, what's Susan saying? Will I get to see the monks? I don't know. I've got to look to see where they're going to be, and but they'll probably come out through Virginia in the next few days. It's really quite incredible, isn't it? They're doing that and how they're bringing people together, and this light. While things are so heavy in other places. Anyway, take a breath with me, everyone, please. Take a breath with me, please. I always just like to conclude these sessions by taking a breath. We say a prayer. We say a prayer for the country. We say a prayer for the world. We say a prayer for humanity. And anything sent forward in prayerful intention is not limp and it is not weak. It goes to where it needs to go to. And by willing hearts and willing hands, willing mouths, from God through us, so it is. Okay. Love to you all. Have a great week. If you haven't joined me on my Homelight membership group, it is free. It is free to join. Go find that on my website. You get notifications for things like this and other things. And love to you all. Have a great week. See you soon.